This video will go over examples on the lesson for solving multi-step inequalities. Let's get started with number 1. We have to solve that 2x plus 7 is less than 23. So, the first step is to make sure x's are on one side and constants are on the other side. So I'll subtract 7 from both sides. So I have that 2x is less than 23 minus 7, or 16. Now that I only have x's on the left and constants on the right, I can go ahead and make my division or multiplication. In this case, I'm going to divide both sides by 2, which is a positive number, so I don't have to flip the sign, it stays less than. On the left we have x, and on the right we have 16 divided by 2, which is 8. So the answer is x is less than 8. For number 2, we have to solve that x is less than or equal to 4x minus 3 all over 5. So this is a little tricky. The first step, I think, could be done two ways. I'll do the two ways on the left or on the right. First way you could do is you could distribute this dividing by 5 to the 4x and the minus 3. That would give you that x is less than or equal to 4/5 x minus 3/5. In this case, I can subtract 4/5 x from both sides and isolate my x's on the left and constants on the right. This will give me that 1/5 x is less than or equal to negative 3/5. So now I can just multiply both sides by 5 and I'll get my answer. Remember, because 5 is a positive number, I didn't have to flip the sign when I multiplied. Now for the other way of doing things. I could have started off by multiplying both sides by 5. That way I get rid of this pesky denominator. It would give me that 5x is less than or equal to 4x minus 3. Now I can subtract 4x from both sides. That way I can isolate x's on the left and constant on the right. So 5x minus 4x is just x, and that's going to be less than or equal to negative 3. The answers are the same, and there are two ways of approaching it. For number 3, we have to convert words into an expression. So here I have 3 times the difference between a number x and 4 is at most the sum of 18 and 6 times the number x. So let's go over this. So 3 times a difference between a number x and 4 is at most. Now, at most means the greatest it can be is something on the right side. So that's the biggest it is. So otherwise, it's always going to be smaller. But because at most it could be that means it could actually equal it. So now we have the sum of 18 and 6 times the number x. So here I have my inequality. And now I just have to solve it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute this 3. That's going to give me that 3x minus 12 is less than or equal to 18 plus 6x. Now, I want x's on the left and constants on the right. So I'm going to subtract 6x. That way x is gone from the right side. And I'll add 12. That way constants are gone from the left side. This will give me that minus 3x is less than or equal to 30. Now keep in mind, only because I was adding and subtracting, I didn't have to flip the sign. But if you look where we're at now, we have to divide by negative 3. And if you divide by a negative, you also have to flip the sign. So this is going to leave us with x on the left, because negative 3x divided by negative 3 is just x, and 30 divided by negative 3 is going to be negative 10. And because we divided by a negative, we used to have less than or equal to. Now we have greater than or equal to. And that's our answer. For number 4, we have to solve this inequality. Note here, this is a 2 minus x. I accidentally mistyped. Anyway, let's continue. So the first step is distribute this 6 and this minus 5. So the left side is going to be the same, x plus 2, greater than, And now on the right-hand side, if I distribute the 6, I have 6 times x, then I have 6 times minus 1, which is minus 6, and then I've got minus 5 times 2, which is minus 10, and I've got minus 5 times minus x, which is a positive 5x. Now I can combine like terms. I'll leave the left-hand side the same, and on the right-hand side I have 6x plus 5x, which is 11x, and I have minus 6 minus 10, combine those to minus 16. Now I can subtract 11x from both sides. That way I only have a constant on the right, and I can subtract 2 from both sides. That way I only have x on the left. This will leave us with minus 10x on the left is greater than minus 18 on the right. So now I want to divide by negative 10. And now this is a negative number, and I'm dividing, which means I have to flip the sign. So first I write it normally. Negative 10x divided by negative 10 is just going to be x. Negative 18 divided by negative 10, that reduces to 9/5. And now it was a greater than sign, but I divided by a negative, so I have to switch the sign around, and it becomes less than. So the answer is x is less than 9/5.